This was one of the most frustrating weeks I've had in a while, and it still ended up being a profitable week. So I made almost $300 this week, but the market was extremely slow. My win rate dropped the lowest it's been, I think, ever. And I really had to spend a lot of time focusing on whether my strategy was even working. But otherwise, guys, we are on vacation right now, so I am in Hawaii. I don't know if you guys can see this super well, but this is the view from our floor. So we got a pretty sick spot. Got some surfing in and seeing tons of sights. Went to the top of this mountain, watched the sunrise. It was just beautiful. So definitely a good thing that I get this week to relax after having a tough week of trading. So I can kind of fix my mindset. So this week I took 70 trades over 5 trading days. The market was super slow, so there wasn't a ton of clean setups, but I ended up profitable on 3 out of the 5 days, being up almost $300. So I'm going to pull up my stats here from this week. I finished up $278 with a 60% win percentage on the week. My win rate per trade was just over 50% at 54.3%. And my profit factor, which I'm really disappointed, finished at 1.72, which ideally I want my profit factor to be above 2, which your profit factor is how much more your winners are worth versus your losers. So if my profit factor is 2, if I lose $1, I'm making $2. So the higher your profit factor is, the easier it is to be profitable because then you can get away with a lower win rate because your profit factor is so much. I barely had a win rate over 50%, but because my profit factor was 1.72, I was able to still be profitable. But if we can get the profit factor up and start to improve the win rate, we can really start to improve how much we're profiting. Expectancy per trade around $3.79. Definitely a really poor week. Probably my biggest weak point was my profit factor, and win loss was not great either. So our max drawdown from this week from the high point was $150. So my first 3 days were profitable. Thursday and Friday, I lost a ton of money. Looking back on this week, I had some big wins. VIVS, I could have made several thousand off of. I missed a 300% squeeze, but still made a lot off of that, made 72 off of that. SOBR was my biggest trade of the week out of market open on Wednesday, where I made $76 off of a huge leg up. And then otherwise, a couple other big wins at the beginning of the week. Now, looking towards my biggest losses, VMAR from Tuesday was my biggest loss, which it was just a bad trade. Knifed on me really hard, wasn't able to get out of that trade, so I ended up losing 3R, so 3 times what I normally risk per trade on one single trade, and then also lost 3R on Ruby on Thursday, which was out of market open. I lost 3 times my max risk. And a lot of these setups are because I'm just not taking the best setup. It looks like the volume's spiking up. It looks like a half decent setup, so I still take it anyway. And then I get knifed so hard I don't have time to sell out fast enough. So when it's hitting my stop loss, I'm losing more than I want to because I'm getting filled lower than I want to. So the biggest learning experience from this is if I'm not confident with the setup, I need to just step away. I'm better off trading less setups and making less money than I am trying to force setups, and because then I'm going to lose way more than I need to be losing. So a lot of these big losses could have been avoidable this week. Now, also my biggest mistake was Friday. I overtraded, and it was the first day I broke my rules and just started gambling, which I'm not proud of it, not happy to be sharing that, but I need to be honest with myself here, and it's kind of a wake-up call for myself because after having a bad day, super slow morning, and I just said fuck it. Started chasing the top gainer that morning. I was moving a lot, taking really suboptimal setups, making small wins, small wins, small wins. But then once I have these big losses, I hit my max loss for the day, which it was just not smart. Wasn't thinking well. So big learning experience for me. Just I need to stop doing that. Follow my rules. If I'm tilted, my mindset's not there. Even taking a day off would have been great for me, just to kind of reset. But otherwise, that's probably the biggest mistakes I've had this week. And right now, I am on vacation. So, with how the market's been and how slow it's been, I may be taking this week off. I'm not planning on trading a ton this week. But next week, hopefully the market picks back up. I get a week to kind of recover from this really slow and tough week, just mentally kind of relax for a week. And then once I get back into town, we should be back and better than we were before because we've really learned from this and we should have a pretty good week. So I won't be posting anything, probably won't be streaming this next week just because I'm out of town. When I'm back in town, I will return to posting these updates and I will return to streaming, so stay tuned for that.